Now, Imam Al-Ghazali occupies a unique position amongst the educators of Islamic history, insofar as his status was unquestionably that of Mujadid, one of the most interesting prophecies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is in a sound hadith narrated by Imam Al-Hakim in his Mustadrak, runs that Inna Allah yab'athu li hadhihi al-umma ala ra'si kulli mi'ati sana man yujaddidu laha dinaha, which means Allah shall raise up for this ummah at the beginning of each 100 years someone who will renew for it its religion. And confronted with this very interesting prophecy, the ulama of Islam have made haste to try and put names to the centuries of the ummah's history. And generally people agree that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi alayhi was the Mujadid of the first Islamic century. Many would also acknowledge Imam Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi'i as Mujadid of the second century. But generally the lists tend to diverge quite drastically. It almost looks like a rather self-serving exercise in that the Hanafi Imams tend to mention Hanafi Imams, the Hanbali Imams, and ditto. But the only point at which these different stories converge is with Imam Al-Ghazali. And Imam Al-Suyuti, who has a short risala on this very interesting hadith, in which he lists the different lists given by the ulama of candidates for this prestigious position of Mujadid for each of the centuries, says everybody disagrees except on Imam Al-Ghazali rahmatullahi alayh, la a'lamu lahu khilafan. I don't know that anybody has disagreed in his case. That's quite an impressive testimony that somebody like Imam Al-Suyuti, one of the truly great erudite luminaries of all of the Islamic disciplines really in his age, should, despite the extraordinary breadth of his research, not have been able to come up with any dissenting voice. Nobody disagreed, as far as Imam Al-Suyuti was concerned, that Imam Al-Ghazali should be crowned with the laurels of the Mujadid for his century. And the encomia could be cited almost indefinitely. Imam al-Nawawi, for instance, used to say, لو ذهبت كتب الإسلام والعياذ بالله ولم يبق إلا الإحياء لأغنى عما ذهب. He says this in his Kitab al-Tibyan and in two of his other works. It means, were the books of Islam all to be lost, and Allah protect us from such a thing, save only the ihya, it would supply for what was lost. In other words, it would be enough. Indicating not just the correctness of the book, but also its encyclopedic, comprehensive quality. And it can be read, in a sense, as a kind of encyclopedia of Islam, because of its systematic organization and its comprehensive quality, and its insistence on citing all of the sources of authority: Quran, Hadith, the Sahaba, sayings of the early Muslims, sayings of later Muslims. So these are pretty impressive testimonies to the quality of the man and the quality of one of his most influential works. It's probably also the case that the Islamic text that, after the Quran itself, has been done into most languages is the Ihya Ulumuddin of Imam Al-Ghazali, which can be found in Tamil translations, Tagalog translations. There's a good Tatar translation of much of it, Bosnian, Hausa, etc., etc., etc. Hardly any traditional Muslim home seems to be bereft of a copy. Now, when they reflect on the qualifications required in a Mujaddid, the ulama say that superior piety is not enough. Erudition is not enough. What is required is a revivification of the religion. Indeed, Mujaddid means a renewer, which in the worldview of Islam means somebody who takes the spirit of the religion back to the primal point of purity, wisdom and innocence that prevailed in the days of Sadr al-Islam, the beginning of Islam. And this is what Imam Al-Ghazali did. So the accolade goes to him not just for the multiplicity of his influential works or for his sincerity, but for something more profound and more interesting still, which was his agenda of reviving the primal spirit of the religion. That's the qualification for a Mujadid. After all, there have been Mujaddids who are not known primarily as ulama. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the most obvious example, but nonetheless a great reviver of the true spirit and essence and élan of the religion.